liberty and justice for all. Kara, may we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Gales. Here. Councilmember Moore.
Here.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Finley.
Here.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Here.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Here.
Mayor Page.
Here. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Gales.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Finley.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Yes.
Mayor Page.
Yes. Kara, could you please read the caption for SR 24-24?
The Trotwood City Council will move into executive session pursuant to section 121.22G3 of the Ohio Revised Code, which allows for discussion with an attorney for the public body concerning pending or imminent court action.
May I have a motion to move into executive session?
So moved. Second.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Finley.
Yes.
Councilmember Gales. Yes. Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Yes.
Mayor Page.
Yes. We will now be moving into executive session and returning by 6:30. Thank you. adjourn the executive session.
Second.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Gales. Yes. Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Finley. Councilmember Vaughn.
Yes.
Mayor Payne.
Yes. Kara, do we have some special presentations this evening?
Madam Mayor, we do. PR 28-24, Five Rivers Metro Parks is a regional public park system consisting of conservatories and outdoor recreation and education facilities. This evening, their Chief of Planning and Projects, Carrie Scarr, will share information about their impact in the city of Trotwood and their upcoming ballot issue, Issue 35. Carrie, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good, Mayor. Thank you for having me, Council. Thank you for your time. I appreciate being here. Five Rivers Metro Parks does have a ballot initiative on the November ballot. And so we are going into the community to share with everyone what this levy will fund and why we are doing this. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk to the residents of Trotwood. Five Rivers Metro Parks, do I push the?
No, just say next slide.
Okay, great. Five Rivers Metro Parks began in 1963 when some forward-thinking residents saw that as development occurred in this area that we wanted to do that in a smart way and so preserve open space. And so Five Rivers Metro Parks is a conservation-based park district, next slide, whose mission it is to protect the region's natural heritage and provide experiences that inspire a personal connection with nature. Next slide. And so we have 18 park locations throughout the county. We have the 2nd Street Market downtown in downtown Dayton. We know, and I've been here before you before, and acknowledge the fact that we have a level of service dearth in the west central part of the county, and that includes Trotwood. And that's something we've known for many, many years. And so we have acquired property in Trotwood, adjacent to Trotwood, which is in the little orange square there. That's called Spring Run. And we have been working for a long time to have the money to develop that into a metro park. So more about that later. But I do want to acknowledge that we do have that dearth of services there. The Wolf Creek Bikeway does go through Trotwood, starts in Trotwood, and goes for 13 miles to the northwest. We've also been working very hard with your staff for a number of years. And actually, I've been working since 2005 to connect Trotwood to the trail network, which is the largest trail network in the nation. And we need that connection for the city of Trotwood. Next slide. So as a conservation area, we manage 90% of our land in natural area. And I can share with you that through grants and outside funding, we have been able to do some really magnificent things at Spring Run in terms of natural area management. And we have some beautiful prairies there that are attracting a lot of diverse and in fact endangered bird species and creating a really peaceful location for a hike or birding. Next slide. Education is the second of the 3 pillars of our mission. As kids today are spending more time in front of a screen, up to 9 hours a day, it's important that they get outside and we provide them an opportunity to connect to nature and relieve some of that stress that comes with being in front of a screen so much. And so we focus on that and try to get kids outside. Next screen. And another way that we do that is through recreation, giving kids and families many opportunities to live healthy, active, outdoor lifestyles, whether that's making use of the bikeway and walking or running or riding a bike, or enjoying one of the metro parks and a hike there. We create those opportunities for the public. Next slide. And then we also try to provide events where the community can come together around the outdoors. Just this past weekend, we had the Midwest Outdoor Experience that happens at Eastwood Metro Park. That was a great success and gives families and kids the opportunity to try all these different things that you can do in the outdoors, paddling and cycling, and all sorts of opportunities. And thanks to the weather, it was a very successful event. Next slide. So the reason that we are pursuing a levy is because, as I'm sure a lot of you know, about 12 to 14 years ago, the state cut a lot of funding to locals. And we have been trying since that time to manage with that decrease in funding. And we have not embarked on new endeavors, and you're aware of that because Spring Run is at the top of our priority list, and we've not been able to do that. And so we have spent that time trying to take care of what we have, and what we found is that we're simply no longer able to do that. We are right now sitting on $58 million in deferred maintenance. And without additional funding, we are not going to be able to recover from that. And the metro parks will not be the community asset that I think Montgomery County has come to appreciate and expect. We are about quality of life. We provide opportunities to improve physical, mental, and emotional health. I think we saw that during the pandemic when people, about the only thing that was open was nature, and people came to the metro parks. As I said, we do work at providing something for everyone, whether it's picnicking or hiking or cycling or fishing. We try to reach the gamut of ages and lifestyles so that everyone can find their way to enjoy the outdoors and nature. Next slide, please. And we also try to be accessible. In Montgomery County, over 300,000 Montgomery County residents take advantage of the metro parks each year, and that results in a total of over 2 million visits. We offer almost 200 miles of trails, all different types of trails, and 94% of the population of Montgomery County is within a 10-minute drive of the metro park. So we're available, we're accessible. We'd like to be more accessible for Trotwood. And one of the things that this levy will do, next slide please, will support first, because we need to take care of what we have before we add on to what we have. We need to focus our attention on retiring that $58 million backlog. And we have inventoried all of this. We understand it very well. And what we're seeing is that if we focus on this backlog for 3 years, that after 3 years, then we will have it in a manageable level. And what I mean by that is that we will be able to continue and then retire it in 10 years. And beginning then in that 4th year, we will have some funding available to put toward new projects. And Spring Run Metro Park is at the very top of our list. This whole area of the county, is at the top of our list between the Wolf Creek Bikeway, Spring Run Metro Park, and the expansion of Wesleyan Metro Park, which is in West State. We have a master plan for Spring Run. We presented that here a few years ago and got input from a number of Trotwood residents in the library, and we appreciate that very much. We want to come back out to the community when we get to the point that we can begin planning again with the end in sight or the beginning in sight. So we'll be doing that so that when we do have funding for new endeavors that we're able to hit the ground running with that. So in addition to that, this levy, as I said, will allow us to maintain the parks in the way that people have become accustomed to them. Clean restrooms, safe parks, safe hiking trails, and other facilities. It will allow us to continue those educational and recreational programs and events that the community enjoys. And it'll let us keep our knowledgeable and talented staff so they can continue to serve the public. Next slide. Without it, we won't be able to fund these things. We won't be able to maintain what we have. And we'll have facilities that aren't repaired. We will have to cut our programs and our events. And we won't be able to protect our waterways and our wildlife corridors the way that we have to date. And we'll have to continue to keep key staff positions vacant, which we don't want to do. Next slide. So this is a 1 mil levy that will expire in 10 years. Its cost will be under $3 per month per $100,000 of home value. Next slide. And so with that, I can take questions. I want to say that by law, I cannot advocate for this levy, that an independent campaign committee, the Five Rivers Metro Parks Levy Committee, has been formed to do this. So if anyone, either on council or in the audience, has a question, they can go to votefor5rivers.org to understand more. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Council, are there any questions?
Yes, ma'am, I have a question.
Excuse me, Ron.
I know that you've expressed how much that the yearly will cost a homeowner per month for 100,000. What can you explain would be the collective dollars brought in to the Five Rivers if this issue 35 passes? How much are you going to bring in additional per year?
14 million.
Please?
14 million.
14 million. This is by no means throwing the dart at the management or Five Rivers Metro, but I have an understanding in the past some of the land that has been bought is addressed through grants. Also carbon credits. Have they received carbon credits for land that was bought?
No, I don't believe.
No.
We haven't entered the carbon credit market.
Okay. Is that a possibility?
And you're talking about people buying carbon credits
Yes,
for us
yeah,
for revenue generation.
Right.
We have looked into it. It's the carbon credit market is not certain in terms of whether it really helps the environment, and so we don't want to generate revenue that is not authentic. We don't feel like that market is valid. Or if it is valid, it would cost us way too much to do it in a valid way, and we couldn't generate enough money to make us feel good about what we were doing.
I know you speak about basically what I can describe as a deficit that you're in now. And moving forward in year 1, 2, 3, and 4, I guess my discomfort to some extent is that past practices, whatever they may have been, have put you in this situation. So now I'm a homeowner asking to support moving forward additional costs with no idea that at the end of year 3, year 4 will have a surplus and be able to bring improvement to our community that we have hoped for years would come about, and that will still be number 1. But I'm not going to ask you to explain it, but if I were an investor, which we all are, I guess I would like to have an answer. How do we get here, and why do I feel comfortable that we won't follow the same path?
That's a fair question. So as I mentioned, and I'm sure all of you are aware, back in 2010, 2012, the state cut funding to local governments to balance the state budget. And we all began to work with that new reality. We worked with it for a number of years, and in 2008, our levy expired. Our current levy expired, and we needed to go, 2018. We needed to go on the ballot. We knew at that time what our need level was, but we are capped by law at a 2.0 levy. So we did a survey and asked the public, would you support renewing our current levy and then funding an additional levy? And what we found is that was way too confusing for the voters. That was not something we wanted to do. So we said, okay, we will renew our levy in 2008, and then 2018, and we will come back at a time when we can present a concept to the voters that will be easy for them to understand. Well, it was about 2020 that we were going to start to address that, and we all know what happened in 2020 with the pandemic. It was not a time to do that. We considered doing it then a couple of years later, and our then executive director announced her retirement. So that was not the time to do it. And as soon as our new executive director, Karen Hesser, came on board, then her top priority has been to address this funding deficit.
Thanks a lot for your detailed answer.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman Green.
Thank you for coming tonight. Along those same lines, you talked about a $58 million backlog. Can you share a little bit more about what percentage of that $58 million, where that comes from, and what the dollars? You mentioned the levy will generate about $14 million a year. That's not going to cover that backlog. It's still going to be a deficit of about $13 million.
We will, over the course of a number of years, retire that backlog. And we have, over this period of time, we have also not raised the wages of our staff. And so we have staff who are well underpaid. We have staff who are leaving because they are well underpaid. And we have not raised operational funding in years. So we have those two areas of funding that we'll also need to address. But to get back to capital, we have a plan where if we focus all of our capital dollars on nothing but repair and replacement for 3 years, then we will get to the point where we feel comfortable that we can continue to retire that backlog over the course of the next 10 years and to avoid getting into the dire situation we are right now, where we're actually having to close critical facilities because we cannot take care of them. And over the course of that 10 years, then we will be able to retire that backlog and then remain on a steady pace to take care of what we have in real time. You asked kind of what those categories are. There are, and these are kind of big buckets of categories, but there are site amenities, infrastructure and utilities, buildings, natural elements, pavements, and unpaved roads and parking lots, as well as then unique elements throughout the parks. For example, the Five Rivers Fountain downtown.
So you mentioned that should the levy pass, our Trotwood parks would not be addressed for at least 3 or 4 years.
That's true. We feel that it's very important to take care of what we have, not completely, but get it under control before we start to add to our operational burden and our repair and replacement burden.
So how does that look for Trotwood for the spring run? Are there any activities, anything planned for our parks in our community prior to the end of the 3-year period?
So we have just completed a large grant there where we regraded and replanted a lot of the old golf course, and the old cart paths remain. And the ponds are there for fishing. So there is the ability to go. We added parking spaces right there at the entrance. So you have the ability now to go there and hike. And if you like to hike through nature and see birds, I can vouch for the fact that it's a wonderful experience. There are people who fish those ponds. Obviously, our vision for that park offers a lot more than that. We have a community room, we have picnic shelters, we have a play area for the kids, we have picnic shelters in a second area, we have a observation tower to let people get up a little higher and see those big, beautiful views. So we have what we feel is an exciting vision for the park that a lot of you and the Trotwood community contributed to, and we look forward to making that a reality.
Mayor, just two follow-up questions. What percentage of your marketing budget is utilized for the Trotwood area?
I don't have the answer to that. I can try to get it for you, though a lot of our marketing budget goes to social media and sources where it would be difficult to parse. But I can try to see if our marketing department can give some information along those lines.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We want to thank you for coming out.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Madam Mayor, we have PR 29-24. The City of Trotwood is working to be designated an age-friendly community through the ARP network of age-friendly states and communities. Joining us virtually is ARP Senior Associate State Director of Outreach and Advocacy, Nicole Ware. Director Ware will discuss their age-friendly network initiative with in-person support from Leslie King, Director of Regional Environment and Economic Development for the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission.
Ms. King, good evening.
Just to say thank you for having us, council,
Put it close to you.
and I will pass it over to Nicole. Thank you.
Good evening, Nicole.
Everyone. My name is Nicole Ware. I am the Senior Associate State Director of Outreach and Advocacy for AARP Ohio, and I'm going to share a presentation with you. Okay. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Can you hear? Okay. Okay, so, thank you. I'm so glad that the city of Trotwood is interested in enrolling in the AARP network of age-friendly communities. As I'm sure that many of you know, America is aging, and so AARP is working with communities across the country to address the changing demographics. Here, this graph shows you that in 2015, the population of adults over the age of 65 and where it's projected to be by the year 2030. This chart here is a favorite of mine because it really gives you a better lens that by 2034, we will have more adults over the age of 65 than we will under the age of 18. We'll have 77 million adults over the age of 65. And then if you compare the difference of what 100 years does to our society, just in 1960, we had more people under the age of 19 than we did older adults. We'll fast forward that to 100 years from now, and we are increasingly seeing a steady rise of older adults. People are living longer, both male and female, but even more so as they get older, females are living longer. And so what we see here is that AARP has done a number of surveys. Our 2021 Home and Community Preference Survey has shown that 2/3 of all adults and 80% of 50+ adults want to live in their homes and in their communities. And that 1 in 5 Americans are family caregivers, and they're living, caring for their loved ones, either in their homes, 40% of them, or in that person's loved one's home. And that it will take some home modifications in order to do that safely and comfortably. I want to take 1 minute to show a video that really encapsulates why it's important to have a little community, a community where people of all ages can live, because we are all aging and it beats the alternative. So hopefully, let me know if you cannot hear this video.
AARP is working to make communities more livable for people of all ages. But what is a livable community? In a livable community, people of all ages can find housing that is comfortable and affordable. It is also a community where residents can get where they want and need to go, regardless of whether they own a car. It's a place where people can spend time in parks and public spaces that are vibrant, safe, and healthy, so they can socialize with their friends and participate in fun activities. A livable community ensures access to needed shopping and healthcare services. It's a place where people can work or volunteer and be included in community events and decision-making. So, what is a livable community? It's one where everyone can make their city, town, or neighborhood a lifelong home. AARP.
And so with that creates the context of what communities across the country are striving for by joining the AARP Age-Friendly Network. With the remaining few minutes that I have, I'm going to just quickly go through the process of what's involved when you enroll in the network. What communities are signing up for is really a 5-year commitment towards understanding the needs of their community, developing an action plan based on those needs, and then tracking their progress and reassessing toward the end of that 5-year commitment. So in the beginning, you're enrolling into the AARP network. And I want to say that by doing that, you automatically become a member of the World Health Organization's Age-Friendly Network. You do it by submitting an application and a letter from the highest elected official and a resolution in your community. And then in year 1, you're conducting a community needs assessment. And then based on that community needs assessment, you're developing an action plan. There are 8 domains of livability. I will not take the time to go through that. You have another handout there on the dais, 1 page, 2-sided, that shows a wheel of the 8 domains. Some communities develop their action plan around the 8 domains. There's no requirement that you do that. Some do less than 8, some do more than 8. It's really based on what does your community needs assessment that you should do and what you have the capacity to do. In years 3 and 5, you're in implementation of the action plan and you're tracking your progress and then also evaluating your progress at the end of age 5. The requirement in terms of enrolling into the AERP network is to do the community needs assessment and share it with AERP, same for the action plan and the progress report. Here's the wheel of the 8 domains livability I was referring to that you have on the handout there. And I just wanted to share with you that every year we do a survey of our communities. We have over 900 communities that have been enrolled in the age-friendly network since 2017, and they have increasingly overcome barriers and advocated for policy change that typically center around coordination of services, municipal changes, a positive view of aging, and the private sector changes. And so finally, I want to make sure that you are aware of all of the resources that are available, whether you enroll in the AERP network or not. You can go to aerp.org/livable and you can download 20 or more publications that speak to housing, transportation, parks and public spaces. We have an award-winning newsletter, and you also have access to free technical assistance that you can apply for, as well as an AERP Community Challenge grant that you can apply for. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Good evening. How are you all? I hope you're doing well. Thanks for having us on your page and council. So I'm here to follow up on Nicole's presentation around the funding and the partnership with the Dayton Foundation that Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission has. Been working with your staff for quite a while on this concept, and so I think people are pleased to see Trotwood at this point in the process. The Dayton Foundation has a fund, the Delmar Healthcare Fund. This is a very generous opportunity to utilize this funding, period. So in the background is a healthcare industry here. The man lives in California, but he wants to give back to Dayton, where he made his money in the healthcare industry, a lot around nursing homes. And he didn't necessarily like what he saw in nursing homes. His name's Don Ambrose. And so hearing his story is pretty powerful. The reason he's so interested in the age-friendly initiative nationally with the ARP is because of that, because of his experience in those facilities. On top of that, he's aging. He's older. We're all aging, and so he's personally invested in this as well as a person. So the statistics are there. The funding opportunity has come across. Prior to you all, we had 12 age-friendly communities in the region, which was the largest in the state. There's the Coalition of Age-Friendly Communities in Ohio that's based out of OSU Sociology Department. They provide also technical assistance and resources to people who are engaged in this process. And so we've been the largest region in the state for a while, and potentially the country, now that Trotwood has thought about joining our network here regionally. Beaver Creek Township and Beaver Creek City has also jumped in. So we keep growing, and we're looking for really peer-to-peer learning across the board here. We also recently had our first action plan submitted for Miami County, and that was also funded through the Dayton Foundation through these second-year grants. And so I've been working with trying to develop a better structure for the funding model, and so you can anticipate that there'll be funding for the action plan when you get to year 2 as well, because the goal is that all of our now 15, hopefully, age-friendly communities in the region will all have action plans that also align a little bit with our regional goals, but also are unique to their own jurisdictions and their own communities based on that needs assessment. Some communities like Xenia participated right when they were doing their comprehensive planning, so they just embedded it into that. Miami County did a separate action plan for aging, so there's ways to do it that work best for you as well. But really, I think what it is trying to get our region to embed a lens, like a certain lens into the planning. And it's an age-friendly lens, which is just another way to look at equity and inclusion. So if you have any questions, I'm here to field them, but hopefully that understands the funding opportunity. I'm here Foundation as well, I guess, in that regard, so.
Are there any questions, council? Council Vaughn?
Yes, please. You mentioned that obviously this action plan is not new, and many people have completed the plan for themselves in the 1 through 8 steps. Are those plans something that we can look at? I mean, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. It's good ideas and things we may not have considered or included. So could they be brought to our attention?
Yes, so the plan is live on AARP's site, but I've also shared it with some of your staff members as well as other applications even for the grant, because why recreate the wheel? I mean, yours will look different, but using similar language actually just helps us have some regional focus too as for goals. So yes, those are shareable templates, as well as some other projects and funding models. I just in the past 6 months, I've seen a lot more federal funding and state funding opportunities for aging-related topics, whether it's housing. So I think having a plan would help you leverage some funding that might also address some of the broader, more high-end priorities for Trotwood.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
I'd also like to speak to that and answer your question. Yes, she's right. Not only are the action plans for Miami Valley available, if you go to aarp.org/local, the network is that you can see all of the action plans for communities across the country that are enrolled. And then the other thing I want to mention is that AARP offers a community needs assessment template that we make available to our communities for free. We can put your logo on it so that you can use that, and maybe the grant that you're receiving from the Dayton Foundation could be used for analyzing that data, because we don't do that for you, but we will provide you that template and also provide you with the raw data for you to analyze and then move forward to develop the action plan.
Nicole, thank you. You kind of threw us off guard a little bit because you just started talking, you know. It just went off, so I just want to let you understand the snickering in the back. But thank you so much for that. Leslie, you could also, I know I'm aware of it, but I want to make sure all the council members know that we did receive already, or are we going to receive the $15,000 to start our plan, or can you tell them a little bit about where that comes from and what we can do?
So I spoke to Lee Samples from the Dayton Foundation this morning, who helped develop this program, and they're ready to process the funding as soon as you all pass the resolution. That's all they've been waiting for, because that's the official requirement for the funding, is to be in the AARP program. So that would be the last process.
So that's an incentive too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and I would say it's simple. The Dayton Foundation is trying to have more community responsive grants that are very simple to apply for, that respond to community needs, and that have easy reporting processes. So it shouldn't create too much of a burden on your staff either.
Are there any other questions? Councilwoman Bell?
As I look at these program steps about what all has to be done, does the staff do that, or we get volunteers? Who's doing that?
Different communities do it differently. I believe you have a small team of staff that have committed to working on this, and I think that's actually why Trotwood waited a couple of years to do this, so you have a good small leadership team to focus on the work. But there's also some volunteers that you'll maybe call on. I know Willow Springs started this very early on, and they partnered with volunteers at the senior center on it. So there's different ways to model that. Some folks are using the funding for RFPs to hire consultants to do this. So we're also sharing those. The community needs assessment that Dayton did, they're using the same firm in other communities as well for the community needs assessment. If that makes sense, because the firm's pretty familiar with the process already. It's had successful results with our age-friendly network, and so many communities want to use the same firm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Mayor. I know you said that it's the startup, I guess the initial enrollment, the grant money from the Dayton Foundation is $15,000. Is that correct? Is that $15,000 for the year 1 and year 2? making it 30,000?
It's 15,000 for the community needs assessment step, for that year one step. The action plan that they've been funding, like for the Miami County, would be a $10,000 grant for the action plan. That's step 2. So if it took you 2 years to do the community needs assessment for some reason, it would still just be $15,000 one-time grant.
Okay. And so years 3 through 5, we would have to find additional funding for?
Yeah, that's when we work as a region to try to leverage funding, individually, collectively, but having the first 2 things in place will help support that process. And then, the Dayton Foundation and NRPC will continue to provide technical assistance where we can through our Institute for Livable and Equitable Communities, which is where this initiative is housed.
So typically, what is the cost, the overall cost for enrollment through year 5?
Nicole might be able to answer that for us better. We increased the amount of the grant for the community needs assessment based on what we learned. So at first, the Dayton Foundation was giving $5,000, and we did hear that's just not enough to do the community needs assessment. We were also basing that kind of on the size of the community, but that doesn't necessarily change the amount needed either, because it's a project. So good timing on your part. Instead of 5, you're getting 15. So based on what we know, that should definitely cover more than the consultant for the community needs assessment, I would think. So the action plan, Miami County thought 10,000 was enough. So we haven't heard differently yet. When it comes to implementation, we have a lot of people that know how much that might cost to implement these projects, but we haven't got there yet as a region.
So you don't have an estimate cost for enrollment for year 5?
We don't have anyone that's experienced all 5 years, and so Nicole might be able to answer that. And it's kind of up to you all, how far you want to go with implementation. The cost is just reviewing the plan and looking at implementation. So, the cost is just whatever staff time you put into it. That's why I think for us at MRPC, the way we approach our age-friendly work is embedding it into our planning process as a whole, as a lens, and into our agency as a whole, as a lens. So for example, our tornado and disaster recovery work, right? We're really looking at an aging perspective in that, right? Into that planning work. And we've partnered heavily with you on that project as well as our economic development administration project on the Turner Corridor project. So we have several touch points with you all at MBRPC. All of them already have an age-friendly lens from our part. So it's about just having us understand who we're serving in the community.
I was just curious because I know you said you had 800 subscribers or members.
That was the ARP.
Okay, not this particular program.
We have 15 in the region, and our funding is unique to us as a region, which is I think why we have the largest network in the region, because we have a funding source for this. Most communities don't. So when I go to the statewide meetings, most of the communities around here, Columbus, Cincinnati, Cleveland, don't have local funding sources for this.
So those 15 are probably in year 1 or 2, I assume. They haven't really.
Everyone's in year 2, going into 3. Everyone's trying to fund this action plan and get going, or unless you're Yellow Springs and you started before anyone else was talking about it, they're ahead. They're implementing their plans.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Councilwoman.
How many communities in Montgomery County are there that are in this program?
So 15 in our 3 counties, Greene, Miami, Montgomery. And so in Montgomery,
I think we're the 13, aren't we, the 13?
yeah, in the 3 counties, we're the 13.
I'm quite sure that we're adding with the 13, because when we went to the breakfast, there were only 12.
Correct.
And, excuse me, I'm gonna pause here for a second. Ms. Willard, please stand, because Ms. Willard Mrs. Willard has been, I know she's gonna get upset with me, but she has been working with this program and everything. We attended a breakfast. And it was 12 at that time when we went to the breakfast and everything. And knowing that we have about, I think 48%, or I may be corrected, the population in the city of Trotwood, as far as the senior community, is around 48%. I got all geeked, especially when you get any money for the seniors to do something in the city. So we attended this breakfast, and I told Ms. Willard, I said, we really need to do this. And she says, Mayor, we've been trying to do it for the past 3 years. So we're trying to do it now. So that's the reason why we're presenting, this to you. Ms. Willard, did you have anything that you'd like to add? I know I brought you up here, but maybe.
That's okay, Mayor. Thank you. Good evening, council. And I know we do have an aging community. I'm a part of a couple of aging boards. And as I see, there are other communities already, as I said, they're already involved in this process, and I just thought that Trotwood, having a large aging population, it would be good for us to be a part of an initiative like this, and for us to be able to be inclusive in seeing, as the mayor and as Leslie said, just seeing our community through an aging lens. And it allows us to be able to do that. And also, we talk about the future years, we just can look at it. We're looking at whatever we're doing, whatever economic development, we just do that aging lens. And this kind of just gives us the awareness and the knowledge of, this is going on. This is something that, as well as being supported by the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission. And, it's a big initiative, a very important initiative that they're doing. And I just thought that we would want to be a part of it.
Okay. Are there any other questions? All right, what is your name? Nicole? Are you still there? All right, she may be gone. Thank you so much for the presentation. Ms. King, thank you, and Ms. Miller, we appreciate it. I just want to make sure Nicole is gone. I don't want her just speaking randomly. Okay. All right, Kara, 30-24.
PR 30-24, Marketing Coordinator Charles Wheeler is here to share details about the upcoming Trunk or Treat family event.
Good evening, Mr. Wheeler.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I will be quick. I'm not going to take up much of your time. This Saturday, we have our annual Trunk or Treat event. It is going to be held at the Flight Academy. This is a partnership with them as they have just opened up their new facility, and definitely want to do all that we can to support them in this initiative because they have been great partners to us in the Parks and Recreation program in the past. The event will be held, like I stated, on Saturday, that is October the 12th. It starts at 3 p.m. and it will end at 4:30 p.m. There are 20 vendors that will be giving out candies and treats to the kids, and there will be opportunity for individuals to go in and tour the facility as well, with the bulk of the activities taking place outside on their grounds. Any questions?
Any questions, Council?
So it's rain or shine,
Yes, ma'am.
and it's different than
So this is our trunk or treat for this year.
so we won't have like the round.
Not at Madison.
What were the hours again?
3 p.m. until 4:30.
And I thought they were gonna have it on the inside. The clarification, the vendors will be on the outside of the Flight Academy, where the dome, but they'll be able to go inside to take a tour if they want to see on the inside of the dome.
Yes.
So that's not only for the kids, but for the adults that have not been in there.
Correct.
It'll be a great time for
Get
us.
some eyes on the facility, absolutely.
Get eyes on the facility.
Thank you.
Are they, Councilwoman Bailey?
At school, they were asking me, why are we having it so early? So can you tell me that so I can answer that?
Yes, they have other obligations taking place at their facility. So the original date was October the 18th, so the following weekend, but That is a busy weekend for them. They have like a boxing event going on, so the 12th worked out better for them. Additionally, I do know there are other trunk or treats going on in the community, so there's not a conflict. Individuals can attend this one earlier in the year, and then as we get closer to Halloween, they can go to those other ones as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second. Councilmember Gales?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark? Councilmember Finley?
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Yes.
Mayor Payne?
Yes. May I have a motion to open the public hearing, please?
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Gales?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark? Councilmember Finley?
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Yes.
Mayor Page?
Yes. Kara, could you read OR 14-24?
An ordinance by the Trotwood City Council approving the current replacement pages to the City of Trotwood Codes of Ordinances.
City Manager?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. This ordinance will allow us to adopt the changes that the state law has made. They made probably 24 amendments to state laws. In order for us to be in compliance, we have to update our codified ordinances in accordance with the state law. They were in the first reading the last meeting, and this is the final reading here. The changes that there are in your packet, those 24 amendments.
Are there any questions, council? Kara, are there any public comments on this ordinance?
Madam Mayor, there are no public comments. Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve OR 14-24?
So moved. Second. Vice Mayor Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Gales?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
No.
Councilmember Clark? Councilmember Finley?
Abstain.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Yes.
Mayor Page?
Yes.
OR 15-24, an ordinance by the Trotwood City Council requesting the State of Ohio Director of Transportation modify the speed limit to 45 miles per hour on Westbrook Road within the city of Trotwood, Ohio, from Diamond Mill Road east to Salem Avenue, and further to modify the speed limit to 35 miles per hour on Westbrook Road within the city of Trotwood, Ohio, from Salem Avenue east to Main Street.
City Manager?
Yes, Mary, thank you. This is a proposal to reduce the speed limit on Westbrook Road between Diamond and also Salem and Main Street. And Deputy City Manager Kelly will come forward with some commentary.
Good evening, City Manager, Mayor, Council, citizens. This is a collaboration between the City of Trotwood and the City of Clayton to address safety concerns along Westbrook Road. There is quite a bit of speeding that occurs and a number of crashes that have occurred. So part of our traffic calming suggestion provided to us by our engineers includes changing the speed limit and further studying the intersection of Hope Road and Westbrook Road. We are proposing a roundabout there, but that's going to depend on the results of the study.
Are there any questions, council? Kara, are there any comments from?
Madam Mayor, there are no public comments on this ordinance.
Council, I need a motion to approve OR 15-24.
So moved. Second.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Gales?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Finley?
Yes.
Mayor Payne?
Yes.
OR 16-24, an ordinance by the Trotwood City Council authorizing the city manager to transfer ownership of the city-owned property known as 103 East Main Street parcel ID number H330030030048 to the Trotwood Community Improvement Corporation and declaring the property surplus.
City Manager?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I'd just like to capture read. This is the authorizing manager to transfer ownership of property 103 East Main Street. I believe that property was a burned out property. It's been sitting on Main Street for quite some time. We believe by transferring it to the Trotwood Community Improvement Corporation, that organization being better suited to redevelop that property. So we're asking permission to transfer that over to the Trotwood Community Improvement Corporation.
Council, is there any discussion on OR 16-24? Karen, are there any comments, public comments?
Madam Mayor, there are no public comments on this ordinance.
Council, can I have a motion to approve 16-24?
So moved.
A second.
Vice Mayor Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Councilmember Gales? Councilmember Clark? Councilmember Finley?
Abstain.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Yes.
Mayor Payne?
Yes.
OR 17-24, an ordinance by the Trotwood City Council repealing current section 951.02 prohibited activities of the Trotwood Codes of Ordinances and enacting new section 951.02 prohibited activities to prohibit marijuana in municipal parklands and facilities in the city of Trotwood, Ohio.
City Manager?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. This is also tobacco. This order will prohibit use of marijuana in any form in any of our municipal parks, lands, or facilities. And the Deputy City Manager is here to talk a little bit about that.
Thank you, City Manager, Mayor. Again, we're here to ensure that our goal for ensuring consistency with our policies and ordinances occurs. We have already moratoriums and prohibitions against marijuana. However, we did not address it in this ordinance as well as in our parks and our facilities. So we're coming before you for housekeeping measures to ensure consistency. We're also updating this policy to include vaping and electronic smoking.
Council, are there any questions? Councilwoman Finley?
City Manager, how is this going to be enforced? Because there are some, as we know, issues with municipal smoking. Who is going to enforce and say, this is going to really be effective?
This would be a law enforcement issue, as with any other drug or prohibited activity as regarding our parks.
It also has to be posted.
And we will post it, in fact.
Or tobacco.
Johnny McCluskey is going to be ordering signs once council passes these ordinances. We've already spoken about that.
What degree of violation would it be when someone is found guilty or arrested for that?
I would say that it would depend on how much they possess, but that would be a law enforcement question. I wouldn't be able to answer that one.
This addresses smoking, doesn't address possession.
If you're smoking it, you're possessing it. But we don't know how much the person might have in their possession. They very well could have a large quantity in their vehicle or on their person, in addition to smoking it.
Well, let's just say they have one joint and they're smoking and that's it. We don't yet know what the degree of offense that'll be. It'll be criminal or civil.
I believe it would be a misdemeanor. I believe that, I think the law directors.
I think it'll be a misdemeanor citation.
Yeah.
But payable only is for the general offense.
Thank you.
Councilwoman, yes, I'm sorry.
Even though you talked about vaping, it's not in this ordinance, is it gonna be included at some point?
Could you repeat
The
that?
vaping.
Yes,
The
it's in the
vaping,
next
yes,
one.
it is included. We we just wanted to highlight that so that everyone was aware.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's all I see.
Councilwoman Finley?
Question, how do you control it when you're just walking down the street?
Well, walking down the street isn't included. This is our grounds, our facilities, and the parks.
So I can just be walking past the park? Well, not me, but.
You're telling me yourself. But seriously speaking, as you know, the voters of Ohio did pass recreational marijuana use. So people are allowed to smoke it. However, jurisdictions are able to control what happens in our parklands and in our facilities.
I think, I try to think of it in terms of the tobacco, the health, safety, and sanitation, and welfare. Just like if you go out to a establishment, you can't smoke in an establishment, even though you may smoke cigarettes. And I think that's what this really is getting at, is that we control the regulations in terms of the community. You know, we out there are summer concert series. I know that we probably should have this in place then, because people were upset saying that people were out there smoking and they couldn't enjoy the concert. So there are people out there that have health issues. I know my mother's on oxygen, so I think that this deals with you got to think of it in terms of the health, safety, and sanitation, just like they do with tobacco. That's why when you talk about smoking and how we prevent it or what we do, typically what I would do, and I'm sure the police department will do it, if I catch you doing it, I'm going to tell you to leave the park. That's the first thing I'm going to do. The second thing I'm going to do, if you don't leave the park, then we're going to take some other kind of action. That's what I would do.
Yes, sir.
How does the law read? I haven't read it, but let's say that the first offense, non-jailable, and that it's a minor misdemeanor. And then a week later, the same person commits the same offense. Is that then a first degree misdemeanor, second, third? How does that work?
It works like any other misdemeanors and any other laws. I'm sure the law director would agree. Of course, you have to go to court and all of those things, but we don't determine the level, as you know. That's something the judge would determine.
So, the minor misdemeanor first offense would more than likely by state law for any offense would be non-jailable and post a fine, whatever. And then the second, third, or fourth degree offense becomes in state statute and written the jailable offense. I believe, is that correct?
I'll have to look at the code. I was not prepared for the question, so I don't have an express answer right now. The question would be, is the use of marijuana, marijuana has been decriminalized. So we can't, there's no jail to go to that. I'll look this up at the end of the council meeting. I'll be able to respond. But my expectation would be there would be no enhancement that would turn it into a jailable offense. Speeding tickets don't get you to jail. Now, the court can suspend your license from driving, but that's a different type of issue. So let me look at that and we'll give you the answer.
It's on the onset, it just appears to me to be something that we can go ahead and move forward, but it's toothless for the most part to prevent someone from doing it. And I'm just speaking as an average citizen with law enforcement background. Thank you.
I did think that there is some enforcement, as the city manager stated, we would be able to ask those people to leave, and then law enforcement would proceed from there. Currently, we don't even have it named, so that is why we're here tonight, to at least list this as a prohibited activity in our parklands and in our facilities. And that gives us the enforcement too, that we need to begin the process.
As this is drafted, could we at least consider, you ask a person to leave, you put them out on trespassing, they don't come back.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, as an addition to how it will be read, thank you.
That was going to be my follow-up, Councilman Brown. My follow-up was going to be, when I said I would take additional action, if I tell you to leave the park, and you come back on criminal trespass, my next action. And what that leads to progressional penalties within the law. So that would be my action. If I saw you, I'm telling you to leave. I see you again, I'm calling the chief, and we're gonna do this for criminal trespassing. Now, that does lead to this, when you start doing that, now that start getting to those, where you might be going down to 330 West 2nd Street, if you continue to violate the criminal trespass order.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any other discussion, council, any questions? Before I make the motion here, are there any public comments on this?
Madam Mayor, there are no public comments on this ordinance.
Council, may I have a motion to approve OR 17-24?
So moved.
I'll second.
Councilmember Vaughn,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Gales,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Finley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Mayor Page.
Yes.
OR 18-24, an ordinance by the Trotwood City Council repealing current section 521.10, prohibition of smoking of the Trotwood Codes of Ordinances, and enacting new section 521.10, prohibition of smoking marijuana, to update the prohibition of smoking and add the prohibition of marijuana in city-owned facilities in the city of Trotwood, Ohio.
City manager?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is an additional ordinance for prohibits marijuana in city-owned facilities, and I'll let the city manager talk.
What we have noticed is that the prohibition for smoking was named in more than one ordinance. So we simply want to ensure consistency with our policies, and we're asking the same for city-operated facilities.
Are there any questions, council? Are there any public comments?
Madam Mayor, there are no public comments on this ordinance.
So may I have a motion to approve OR 18-24? I'll move.
Second. Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Gales,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Finley,
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Mayor Page.
Yes. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Gales,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Finley,
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn,
Yes.
Mayor Page.
Yes.
Under resolutions, we have R 24-71, a resolution by the Trotwood City Council accepting the court order and decree in consolidated cases in the Common Pleas Court of Montgomery County, Ohio, of Pivotal Housing Partners LLC versus City of Trotwood, case number 2024 CV 02522, St. Mary Development Corporation versus City of Trotwood, case number 2024 CV 02560, and Ober Companies Limited versus City of Trotwood, case number 2024 CV 02630, and authorizing the necessary actions to comply with the court order and decree.
City manager.
Yes, sir, thank you. This resolution will authorize city manager to take the necessary action to comply with the court order and decree regarding the three developments that are on this main street. So we just need a resolution.
Are there any discussion, council? Would someone like to place a motion on the floor?
So moved.
You have to state what the motion is.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt. R 24-71.
Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Vaughn,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Gales,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Abstain.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Finley,
Abstain.
Mayor Page.
No.
Madam Mayor, I want to speak with the law director for just one moment. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to confirm we do have 4 votes in the affirmative, so the resolution did pass. Thank you. R 24-72, a resolution by the Trotwood City Council authorizing the city manager to accept a grant through the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission's Institute for Livable and Equitable Communities with funding from the Dayton Foundation Del Mar Healthcare Fund. City manager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We had heard a great presentation this evening, and this will actually authorize me to accept the grant funds from the Dayton Foundation, Del Mar Healthcare Fund, through the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission amount $15,000 to support our initiative to become an age-friendly community. Therefore, we need a resolution approving that authorization for me to accept the grant.
Any discussion, council? May I have a motion to approve R 24-72?
Second. Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Gales?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Finley?
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn? Mayor Payne?
Yes.
R 24-83, a resolution by the Trotwood City Council authorizing the city manager to enter into a preliminary consent-led project agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation to perform improvements in the city of Trotwood by replacing noise wall panels on State Route 49, project ID number 114938.
City manager.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. This is a resolution that will allow ODOT to perform some repairs to some of the noise panels there on State Route 49, right there at 3rd Street, on the east side of the roadway. Some of the panels are missing, and ODOT needs permission to come in and be able to repair those panels. So this would allow that.
Any discussion, council? May I have a motion to approve R 24-83?
So
Vice Mayor Brown?
yes.
Councilmember Gales? Yes. Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Finley?
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Yes.
Mayor Page?
Yes.
R 24-84, a resolution by the Trotwood City Council adopting and implementing the rules of council.
I'm going to ask, Chris. I'm not gonna ask city manager, I'm going with Chris with this.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Almost forgot your name, Chris, I apologize. I do apologize.
So rules of council are the standard practice, and they're done for a number of reasons. One is transparency, and the mayor, as you indicated to me, and I think this entire council has been committed to the concept of transparency. And when you say transparency as it relates to the rules of council, it takes into a number of things. One, it allows the public to know how council operates. It allows council to know how the public can interact. And then it provides guidance if there's any questions on the process by which some things get on the agenda, et cetera, et cetera. So just standard, frankly, I think that the city should have adopted this many, many years ago. And I'm happy as the law director to see that we're putting those rules in place, because I think it really helps the elected officials understand the process. And sometimes there's confusions on how things they should interact with one another from the DS.
Council, the floor is now open for discussion. Councilwoman Gales.
I think it's long overdue. I'm glad to see it.
Any other? Yes, Councilman Vaughn.
In past experience, not having this in place has been harmful and very difficult to deal with. My question referencing this with these rules and having gone through them and read them, the example, I as a council person defy the rule, what follows from there?
one, we hope that no one defies the rules because we would expect everyone to follow them and as a matter of decorum. There are rules that I would say are the common law. The idea of censure, where the body, the elected body, if there were enough votes, would say, we don't approve of your behavior. It is very, very rare that that happens. But there are tools that an elected body can use if the majority vote to do that. As you know, there are circumstances that would lead to, under the most extreme circumstances, that could lead to the possible vote to try and remove a member from the elected body. That is very, very rare. Recall is typically the way something like that's done. But if the behavior and the citizens don't believe that the behavior leads to the level of recall, typically I think it's just the elected official saying, we don't agree with your behavior, and that would be a censure process to say, this is what you've done that does not conform with what our standards are, and we're going to call you out on it, identify what that behavior is, and request that you conform with those standards in the future.
So I believe this resolution would better define what one should or should not do, say, behave, etc., which we've not had in place specifically previous, so I'm pleased to see this. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Council? May I have a motion to approve R 24-84?
So moved.
Vice Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn,
Yes.
Councilmember Gales, yes. Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Finley,
Yes.
Mayor Payne.
Yes.
R 24-86, a resolution by the Trotwood City Council extending the moratorium up through and including December 31st, 2025 on the acceptance of applications for and the issuance of permits allowing adult use cannabis operators in the city of Trotwood, Ohio.
City Manager, I'm back to you.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. We are looking to extend our moratorium on adult cannabis operators until December 31st of 2025. We're still studying this issue. We need to understand whether or not the city is looking, do we want to ban it, or do we want to alternatively look at new regulations regarding how they would regulate the city of Trotwood. The Planning Commission is looking at this issue right now. I think we need some additional public conversation and maybe with a workshop. But we right now, while we're studying these things, we need to extend the moratorium. I looked today, just looking through, and I wrote down, there's probably everybody around us, there's 11 communities, they all have moratoriums right now. Because everybody's trying to figure this out. You know, I looked at something else too, because I know everybody, they wonder things about, because there's rumors out there about how much money everybody's going to be getting and things like that. Let me explain something to you. Recreational marijuana's got a 10% excise tax on it, which goes towards the state's social equity and jobs programs, some municipalities with dispensaries, a substance use fund, and administrative costs, and medical products are not taxed. So think about this for a moment. So if you've got a dispensary, you probably don't have maybe 2 or 3 employees in there, right? We're predominantly funded by income tax and property tax. So I don't know where all that money's gonna come from, because we don't have sales tax. The county and the state of Ohio has sales tax. So I'm just gonna put that out there for you to be thinking about that, for the people that think that we're gonna get all this money from having a dispensary on this corner, one on that corner. I just don't know if that's true. That's different if you're talking about maybe some big factory that's maybe got a lot of employees, but for that, all I gotta do is drive down on this weekend, take a drive down Needmore, and look over to your left. And I'm not so sure right now. We want that. We need to be figuring out how we're going to regulate, or either not have it at all. So what we're asking for tonight is to extend our moratorium.
City Manager, I was reading about 10% excise tax, and there's a provision for those communities of 36% of the excise tax is to go back to those communities.
that you're hosting a dispensary? I mean, we have to look again at some of the information. I did look at that last time.
Well, I've asked we have an expert in-house on municipal income taxes and everything. She's on top of the Subovan. As we extend this moratorium, that's one of the things we're gonna come back. We're gonna be talking about that. We're gonna go down to the nanogram. Because right now, how do we, without anecdotally speaking about it, we can't make a decision because we don't know. The state right now is probably 123 dual municipal and recreational licenses have been issued. And the state said everybody issued some more, but they put a cap on them. But we don't know yet where they're located. We don't know where they're gonna come in the city of Trotwood. If we open up, we don't know where they're all gonna go. So we can't make any analysis in terms of how much money we'll get. I don't know if any of the other communities can make that analysis either, because we just don't know right now. That's the reason why we're wanting to extend it, so we can do more thought process into this. And also have some community conversation about this too, because there's two things that I think about as the manager here, I'm thinking about not only the quantitative data, but the qualitative data. Because I know right now, yeah, we open this up, we get a dispensary on every corner, and everybody yay, but then the qualitative data is gonna be people calling me saying, get the chief to do something about that on the corner. See, so just like we had that issue up there on the corner of Turner and Salem, everybody's calling in the office, screaming and hollering, people videotaping, people standing in the road with these marijuana signs. So see, that's the qualitative data that we gotta think about along with the quantitative data too. So we need to take a comprehensive look at what is going to be the impact in our community. So that's why we're asking for this moratorium, so we can make a thought-out process, a thought-out decision about how we're going to do this as we move forward. That's my message.
Councilwoman Finn, and then Councilwoman after.
City manager, I know you mentioned dispensaries, does that also include cultivators and processors?
Yeah, there are different levels. You're right, there are different levels of them. The cultivator, it's amazing what they're charging for the application fees. Like the dispensary is only $5,000. When you start getting cultivator 1, level 2, $70,000. One of them's up to $200,000 for application fees. So you see the difference. So yeah, there are different levels. Yeah.
I believe this is our second postponement, in which we've extended the prohibition. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. This is our second one.
My understanding was with state law from previous dealings with these issues, similar, is that the city of Trotwood cannot prohibit what the state of Ohio permits. I think that's an established rule of law.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, my question is, at what time will we not be able to continue to extend or if we are extending, and I want to bring this in as a business, I'm going to sue you for violation of state law.
That's a good point, Councilman Bond. We've had those discussions with the law director, and we talked about this would probably be this time frame we can move to be safe and to be able to come up with what the city of Trotwood would make sense for us. So you can go ahead, Chris.
So Councilor Vaughn, that's a fair question. When it comes to marijuana, everything's different. It's a grand experiment, and so they changed some rules about things. One, cities have an absolute right to control marijuana usage within their communities. So that means the city can ban it. Communities that already have, for example, dispensaries there have the right to put it on the ballot so the citizens can decide whether or not they want to keep it. So it's a hybrid situation right now. I would also let you know that as it relates to the moratorium right now, while I favor the moratorium because it's a clear public pronouncement that the city intends to look into this, as a practical matter, the state's not issuing any licenses right now anyway. And I think that there's a number of reasons for that. I think the state is also going slowly. They've issued these licenses. They issued another round, and the state wants to see what's happening. In 1933, they started with the idea of liquor licenses to figure it out. And it just takes time, and when you're putting another substance out there, there's still a very lively debate on whether or not legalized marijuana is a good thing or a bad thing. I was reading some articles the other day that was talking about the downside of some marijuana use and how it's impacting unintended consequence, I would say. So the bottom line is we have the ability to control. I think the state is looking at this just as all the communities are. Most communities are putting in effect a moratorium for the very reasons that the city manager has laid out and what staff is recommending.
Just for general information to citizens and to council members, a good friend of mine, retired police major, when the city of Dayton moved to Denver, when he moved there, it was not permitted. His examination today of identifying the community of Denver itself, as he walks down the streets and he said, you could call it the land of duh. Employers can't hire. Very few people are passing drug tests. And it's made, but right now they've exempted hiring as a prerequisite. And the point by most of them, and this is what I'm advised, and he is an attorney as well, companies are saying you don't have to pass a drug test if there's an issue. We'll test you if you are positive, you're fired. That's where they're at today. That began years ago when they permitted this. Thank you.
Any other questions, council members? No other discussions? May I have a motion on the floor to approve R-24-86?
Second. Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Gales?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Finley?
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Yes.
Mayor Payne?
No.
R-24-87, a resolution by the Trotwood City Council extending the moratorium up through and including June 30th, 2025 on the acceptance of applications for and the issuance and processing of any new permit applications for the building, development, expansion, or improvements of self-storage facilities, mini storage facilities, and mini warehouses, routine maintenance and necessary repairs accepted in the city of Trotwood, Ohio.
City manager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We're looking to extend this moratorium on to June 30th of 2025. We're going through our comprehensive land use plan now. That's going pretty well. We've had 2 public hearings. I attended one of them where we're trying to decide where we want things to be in this community, what we want it to look like. So it makes sense now to extend this moratorium until we can finish our land use update and we'll move from there. So we're asking to extend the moratorium on the self-storage.
Are there any discussion, council? None seen. May I have a motion to approve R-24-87?
Second. Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Councilmember Gales?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Finley?
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown?
Yes.
Mayor Payne?
Yes.
R-24-88, a resolution by the Trotwood City Council extending the moratorium up through and including June 30th, 2025 on the acceptance of applications for and the issuance and processing of any new permit applications allowing building, development, or improvements, maintenance accepted on 3-4 family dwellings and multifamily dwellings in the city of Trotwood, Ohio.
City manager.
Yes, State Mayor, as part of the ongoing update, there is a process for city's comprehensive plan. The planning and zoning director is proposing revised zoning use definitions, and the city's planning commission is meeting to discuss and determine appropriate zoning district for various land uses, including 3-4 family dwelling, multifamily dwellings. So therefore, we are looking to extend that moratorium so we can continue the revision and the update, and also look at some of the proposed revised zoning districts that the planning directors will bring forward.
Is there any discussion, council? Seeing none, may I have a motion to accept and approve R-24-88?
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Deals,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Finley,
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn,
Yes.
Mayor Payne.
Yes. Are there any comments?
Madam Mayor, I do have one announcement. On Tuesday, October 15th, the Montgomery County Recorder's Office will be in Trotwood to offer their essential services to residents. Their Get the Facts event will begin at 1:00 p.m. here at the Community Center. Further details about the event are posted on the city's website and on their flyer, which copies are on the table in the lobby. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Are there any public comments this evening? No, ma'am.
I apologize, there are no public.
That's fine, that's fine. City manager. I see you first here on the list. City
Oh, well, thank you. I do have something. I don't know that many of you may or may not know, but my longtime assistant, Cheryl Wheeler, is retiring on October 17th. So you know I'm sad, right? So you know that she's an employee that's mission essential, has been mission essential for me for many years. She has taken care of me and taken care of this community, and I appreciate her. And what I wanted to do though too tonight was introduce Miss Jamaica White. Is Jamaica here? Okay. She's going to be taking Mrs. Wheeler's space, but I'll tell you, she's got some big shoes to fill. But we know what she can do.
Tonight, we have with us. Thank you.
That sounded weird.
Thank you, City Manager. It's bittersweet, but we do have an angel here with us that is gonna fill those, that void that Miss Wheeler is leaving in all of our hearts. Everybody poured on thick. But seriously, Miss White here has an MBA from Indiana Wesleyan University. She has her bachelor's degree from Ohio State University. She's a Trotwoodian and went to, she ran track with our former Trotwood athlete, Donica Merriman. Many of you may know her. Jamaica ran track with her. Jamaica is a co-founder of the 6888 Kitchen, correct? So she has expertise in economic development. She has a rapport with the business community, and we're looking forward to working with her.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited for this opportunity. I do know I have large shoes to fill with Ms. Wheeler, but I'm very happy to be here and help with everything that Trotwood has wanted to do. So, thank you.
Well, welcome, Jamaica. But you all stand right there. Miss Wheeler, if you don't come down front.
Now, she gave the city manager and I these excuses as to why she's moving on to greener pastures. We don't buy it. I just want you to know, Council.
Miss Wheeler, do you have anything that you want to say? I know you were leaving and everything. You're just leaving this position.
I'm just leaving.
But it's not your
I'm
Trotwood.
invested in Trotwood and
Come on now, that's what I want. Let's give them down.
Yes. And this city has part of spiritual business, and whatever, you ask of me, if it's in my capability, I will try to do it. So please reach out. It's been very rewarding and a memorable experience, and I thank each one of you from the depth of my heart for all you've provided me during this time. It's been 7 years, and this season is over for me. But, I'm still working, I'm doing things, I'm moving forward, and as God leads and guides me, He has a purpose, and I'm walking in it. So thank you.
We want to thank you. I know I don't know what we're gonna do with Quincy, but I know Jamaica is here and everything, so if you could just keep them around, that would be very appreciative. And that's coming from the mayor. I don't know what the council's gonna say to you. That's just coming from the mayor. But, would you come up, Ms. Willard, and come around and shake out, because we're gonna miss you. Ms. Willard is very humble. She's very humble, and if you had asked her to do anything in the world, she would do it for you. And those things, and I've never seen her angry. And all the time she's been here, she's never been angry. I keep talking because it's kind of hard when people leave, but when they leave on their own accord, that's the best thing ever and everything. And I want her to enjoy her grandkids and everything and what she's done. Don't make me cry. Staff and citizens, just bear with us because if it were you, you would want this done too. So I appreciate your patience. I know we've been here for a while, but I appreciate it. Is that this thing? Are you crying? It's okay. It's okay. Because I want to. Council members, if you don't have anything, this is your time. I need time to play, so.
I just want to say, there's not enough words to thank Ms. Ruler for her commitment and her dedication and her support and her love and her generosity for everything that you've done for our community. We are not letting you go, although you're stepping down. You're gonna always be a part of us, and we love you, we appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Any other council member, vice mayor?
I just want to ditto that. I don't think there's anything else that we can say other than how much we love you and how excited we are for your next journey. But to know that you are close and still with us and working with us in a different capacity, we have to be satisfied with that. Thank you so much.
I just want to wish Ms. Miller all the best. And additionally, welcome Ms. White, City Manager, great. I hear so much about Ms. White out in the community. She is doing amazing things. So welcome to Trotwood.
Any other? Well, I guess it's on me. As I collect myself. Ms. Wood, I've been where you are today, where I had to retire from a company at 37 years. And I know it's hard, but I know what you have to look forward to in this chapter that's coming up in your life. It's gonna be outstanding. You're a woman of God. You're a woman that has faith and you're humble as the day is long. And I appreciate what you've done for the city of Trotwood. And I wish you all the best, but I do know where you live. And you live right around the corner from me. So do not treat me like I'm a stranger if I come to your door. There's always some humor to what I have to say, but we have a lot of information tonight that involves a lot of facets of the city that's very important. And I appreciate all of those that are sitting in the audience, all the people that have been working behind the scenes, making these things happen and putting these things in place. Chris, I know you've been working your tail off, and I do appreciate it for what you're doing for the city of Trotwood. City manager, it doesn't go a day that I don't talk with you about something. you and DCM, and all the council members up here. I can't do anything without you, and I don't want to do anything without you. We are one. And I don't care what anybody says, this is the best council in the world. And I appreciate y'all being there and the support and encouragement, and also your due diligence in making things right for the city of Trotwood. It doesn't go unnoticed. And I'm proud to be serving with you in this capacity. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. But, I want y'all to come out, and if anybody wears a costume on the 10th, if you come out and wear a costume, I may have a surprise for you, but only up to 10 people, because I don't have that much money. Only 10 people, okay. It's a 12th, on the 12th, that's right, it's on Saturday. Mr. Will, why don't you correct me?
Your vice mayor got you.
Oh, and she always does. But at this point in time, the meeting is now adjourned. Have a great evening.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I know you get tired of seeing me. I'll be right there.
I know you were, because I saw you. I actually had it on my class.
I'm very calling for something. We drive around every day. I'll be out there like, oh, you can come over. Because I heard something about the people walking across the street because they park across the street.
Hard for them to get home.
Yes.
I know mayors and shit that, okay, we have an event like on Friday and Saturday. Yeah, it's all. It's like, you know, okay, I'll be in the city tomorrow at 8:30. Thanks for it. I see y'all. I'm talking about that other thing, you know, I don't know about that other thing.